The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
Let's get your weekend started on Fridays with your one and only new host, Denise. Bringing you amped, raw, and fun energy to entertain as you end your week to welcome your weekend. Denise will bring new friends, celebrities, entrepreneurs, topic experts, musicians, foodies, local events, news, and much more to educate, celebrate, motivate, relax, and relate. As she says, let's make your mess your message. So let's get this party started. Here's Denise.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back. Here we are, segment number 14. Is that right, Freddie? Segment 14 of Power Up Radio TV. I can't believe it's been that many already, but the show has just made tremendous footprint coverage, and we're getting so much feedback, and we're putting a lot more effort into getting so much more of us to be able to air in more different channels and platforms, so we can actually share all this great storylines that we are doing and bring on more guests. So this particular show is going to be super interesting. You know me, I like to bring it spicy, and I like to also surprise you with what we're going to be covering. But as you know, the goal of the show, what do we have? You know the rule. It is to close your week out and to make you move into your weekend feeling good, uplifted, pushing through those big rocks of the week that you might have had and getting up tomorrow and overcoming and starting all over again and refreshing. That is our goal. We want to make sure that we educate, celebrate with you, that we get you motivated, and that we also are able to bring some highlights of events in your neighborhood. I want to hear about what's going on. Dial in. I want you to dial in. That number is 888-565-1470. That's the rule. And I open up the lines and airlines for you to ask me questions. But on that note, it was a pretty big week this week. But moving into the month so far, we have so much to cover. But the most important part is, of course, let's start off with our guest. So we have our guest here. This is a special one. I really, really like this. This has been, I think we can say it was an act of God to bring us all together, because this story everything's just been connecting. Everything has just been happening. People have been saying, how are you getting these guests? How are you doing all this? I'm not trying that hard. It's just falling in my lap. And it's by the grace of God. So with this guest today, we have a 2-time cancer survivor, a TEDx speaker, also a woman's breakthrough coach, and his name, and here we are. We have David Octavio Gandel. Welcome. Welcome.
Can you hear it? Can you hear it?
Yo, can you hear it? Yes. Another reason why to be on the show today. I am very, very happy and so excited that you're here. I know about your story, and I just was so moved by everything, and it falls right in line with what the show is about. It's about, and I said this to someone the other day, what's the show about? So this show, someone said, how did you get to create the storyline of this show? And one of the things that was, I didn't know, what was my story? And I actually let it be, and I wanted to unfold just the way it was going. And here it is. It unfolded exactly to a storyline where individuals like yourself, or anyone that has this story that people would never, ever think that because of their walk in life and where they are on their pedestal and where they may have been in the limelight, that one would never think that there is a rock bottom, right? And then we can climb ourselves up. So the show has really been centered around that. And of course, it's about educating, helping others understand how to overcome, or if they want to follow your footsteps. So the show has been really, really great. And so what, here you are today. And I want to really hear a lot. We're going to be I want to go ahead and start with a video that we have of when David was on the Steve Harvey show. And I really like this intro. So Freddie, can you bring it out? Okay. You're going to have your turn to speak, because I'm just really staging all this up for you.
Amen. This is it was a last minute thing, like you said. God put it all together.
He did. It was a last minute thing, and sometimes it's the best thing that can happen. So, yep, we're going to keep the mics open so we can actually chat during. For those of you that are driving on 95, we're actually going to show a video of when David was on the Steve Harvey show. I don't want you to stop and look at your phones, but you can certainly listen in on the radios. You know, they're 96.9, 95.3 FM, and 1470 AM. So you can also listen on there. iHeartRadio, go to WWN. You can actually find us on there, too. You can find us on YouTube. We just want to make sure that everyone has an opportunity to listen to the storyline.
And welcome back, folks. Listen, no matter how strong you are physically and mentally, there are times that your body can fail you. That's when you need to look within for strength and courage. Here's a picture of my next guest. I want you to see him today. Please welcome David Octavio Gandel.
So for those of you who are listening right now, we are looking at David showing up on the show on set.
Sit down, man. This is really great, man. Dave, you don't look anything like the picture.
Yeah, that looks like death. I was at death door.
Yeah.
I was death sentences and basically just, not any chance of living.
What was the diagnosis?
I had an immature teratoma. It's a rare and a terminal cancer. And it grew to the point that it was literally covering all my organs.
I've been a consultant.
Okay, so that's the opening of what was going on with Steve Harvey. I thought it was said so well. I didn't want to have to overpower that, but it was so true because I wanted to show the fact that your story had reached at a grander level. I'm curious to see how you got there, but more importantly, I want to go back to a few things with you, and I want to take people on the journey.
Sure.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, so tell me, where are you from?
Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico. What part of Puerto Rico?
I was born in Santurce, Puerto Rico,
Santurce.
and I lived in Villa España, Bayamón, and I went to Lincoln Military Academy in Guaynabo, Puerto Rico.
Well, look at that. So those of you know, we are a Spanglish show.
Yes.
I have one half of me that's from Puerto Rico. I'm from Maya West, right? The other half is
Ooh,
Cuban. So it
Maya
depends
West.
who's what and where, but it all comes together very nicely from what I'm told. So I want to hear. So here we are. You're from Puerto Rico. How long did you grow up there? When did you come here? What was the transition?
Yeah, I had a really blessed childhood. I had two parents that were both veterans. My mom was in Vietnam. She's still alive, 75 years young. My dad just passed away 3 years ago, but he fought in Korea. So I had two amazing parents that both taught me a lot about respect.
Yes.
And a lot about respect the elders, of course. I was an only child. My mom had 9 cardiac arrests, and she's still alive to this day.
Wow.
The really cool thing about numbers, my mom was 29 when she gave birth to me, and she almost died. I was 29 when I first got cancer, and I almost died.
at that.
So it's kind of interesting how God just works things just to kind of have fun with him, I think. I always say he has a sense of humor, and we just don't get it all the time. But Puerto Rico, I was there for about 13 years, and then I moved to the States. I moved to Texas because my mom traveled a lot, and my dad retired young, and he says, we got robbed a lot. So we just decided.
In Puerto Rico.
Yes, so it just decided that
They
at that
just borrowed it
moment.
permanently.
Yeah, at that moment, my dad just said, I don't want my wife to have to deal with this. I don't want
Okay.
to. I don't want to have a
That's
call.
respectable.
So we ended up moving to Texas. My mom, of course, being a doctor, she got the top position with Texas Tarleton State University, UTSA, UTA, and she basically was the head of the psychology department. And I was in Texas for a few years. Very different culture shock
Oh
altogether.
yeah, I can't imagine.
Ended up in Tampa to finish high school, and then went to USF and South Florida Bulls and got my 2 degrees in marketing management communications. And I was in everything. I was president of Business College Council, president of my fraternity, president. I just needed to be a leader. That's what my parents always taught me to be.
That's wonderful. I mean, that's a great example. First of all, a vote of gratitude and thankfulness for your parents.
Yes,
For being
absolutely.
veterans. That is just extraordinary. 2 very difficult wars. Not that anything is easy about war, but those are headliners that I certainly can remember. And so you did transition, more like, I guess what they say, kids that move in the military become moving and bopping around. So you now are in Texas, big transition.
Yes.
Let me ask you something. You like spicy food?
I like Puerto Rican spicy food. I'm very straightforward about that. I like Puerto Rican spicy food. I'm not a big. I'm not gonna say anything about Mexico, but yeah, it's a different type of spice altogether.
It is, and I bring that up only because of just out of levity, the fact that how many times I've been told, "Oh, so you're Puerto Rican, you must like spicy food." I'm like, no, that has nothing to do with what you may think spicy means, but there is a difference with Puerto Rican spicy food. Just to bring that in there, because
But I
that must
love
have been a
food.
transition.
I love food.
Clearly,
That's just it.
we all love food.
Yes.
So you were now graduating from high school and you moved
to
here to went to
college.
college.
Yep.
So tell me a little bit of the journey of so you graduated with marketing and a double degree, you said?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And tell me the path from there.
So what was interesting is I did all the internships I could, but at the same time I was working in nightclubs. I was also a personal trainer, massage therapist. So I was doing everything I wanted to do. Like I was modeling. I had a billboard in front of USF.
Wow.
Like it was one of those things where I had long hair. I didn't go into the army, of course. I had long hair. And I just started modeling because of a girlfriend that I had in high school. And then all of a sudden, I just loved it. I loved that lifestyle. And so I did all the jobs I wanted to do, but I still went to college full time, graduated in 4.5 years. And then at the time, I had to make a decision. I had all this internships that I had done. I had all these offers, Dale Carnegie, Ernest & Young, Arthur Anderson Consulting, to consult, to do management consulting, to do speaking, to do that kind of stuff. And then all of a sudden, I stayed in the gym. The owner decided to say, "Hey, I want you to manage." So at 22 years old, I became a manager. About 25, I was running 3 Ghost gyms. I had open studios in Tampa. Regional manager at 25 years old, living in a phenomenal apartment.
So you're at the peak of your health at this point.
I was peaking, and I never did drugs. I barely drank. I never smoked anything in my life. So for me, cancer was certainly it is what it is. It's something that nobody could even understand. But it has nothing to do with my parents. It has nothing to do with DNA. It's something that I was born with. And I can tell you, an immature teratoma was the diagnosis. An immature teratoma is a tumor that grows different types of cancers. It's usually found in babies. So when you open the oncology book, you could see like literally one paragraph of what an immature teratoma was. One. Now there's a whole chapter.
So you actually had something that essentially babies are found with, and somehow. Well, we'll go back for a second here. So you're managing gyms, you're doing the limelight, you're doing everything. And what sparked the interest, or did you not feel well all of a sudden? What was going on?
I moved from Tampa to Miami Beach, 2001, or after 9/11, to pursue my career. It didn't work out at that moment, so I ended up going back to consulting. And at the time, at 29 years old, I was running a Gold's Gym in Deerfield Beach. I was a regional manager for all the Gold's gyms in this area, in Boca East, Boca West, Delray, and Deerfield. And the Deerfield gym, I felt a tumor, I felt a lump, and it took me like 6-7 months, like I say always, to go to the doctor. Like, man, we don't wait. And I waited. I made every excuse in the book. I had a hernia. I have this. I just bumped I don't know what I did. I strained myself. I could be a muscle, whatever it was. And at the end of the day, when I finally made an appointment, it was right around my birthday in July. And on Friday, August 13th, I was right here in Boca. I was diagnosed with cancer.
Wow.
And 3 days, 3 days later, Monday the 16th, the Monday 16th, the surgery was done. In and out surgery, outpatient. I went home. They took the tumor. And at that moment, I thought I was okay. I was going to be okay, because they basically said we couldn't find any other cancer.
So it was confined, is what you're saying?
Yeah, they said it was encapsulated. Correct. Yeah, and I was like, okay, great. So, but they found an immature teratoma.
So on that note, when you're going through this, and this is an educational moment now.
Sure.
I've always said this: women are the ones that we're always much so, I think, talked about with respect to cancer. Which what you don't know, I am a cancer survivor.
I did not know.
I told you I was going to share something with you. I'm a cancer survivor. I had a double mastectomy. And I was very, very lucky. And so my message is always, take care of yourself, go for your mammograms, and go for your health checkup. But I always say men are not excluded. Not in the least bit. But they're the worst to go to the doctor.
Yes, we are.
The worst.
I've written about it in Miami Herald, actually. I've been quoted 2-3 times in Miami Herald. We are. And the more I speak about it, especially in schools, men come to me, parents come to me, and they say the same thing. And I said, well, you have 2 options. When you're a parent, I think that there is only one option, because now you have someone else to live for. And so for me, when you're a parent, I say, when you're an adult, you can do whatever you want. I can't judge anyone.
Yep.
But at the same time, when it came to me, it was a personal decision for sure. But when I got the cancer, I had to get tested for 2 more years. But for my story, I always say I was chosen to tell the story. I said that in Steve Harvey. I felt like this was a choice. I felt God chose me to tell this story because he knew I would. I don't think everybody can do what I do, and I don't expect everybody. And it's a hard road, I'll tell you that. It's not an easy road to live, in faith and walk your purpose. But I felt like I was chosen to tell a story because those 2 years is where my relationship with God got closer, and I truly believe that this was going to reveal my purpose. I always tell women in my seminars, your story reveals your purpose if you actually do the work.
And as you know, my tagline here, it's for me, it's always taking your mess and making your message good, bad, or indifferent. And I'm going to share something with you. And I had promised the audience and the viewers and listeners out there that I'd share a little bit more about myself so you know about that part of the cancer. But using your voice is critical. And there was a recent aha for me. And the aha was I was married for 30 years, and it was a difficult ride. And my coping mechanism was that if I felt I was in a position where I couldn't communicate, it was a difficult situation, but be as it may, I wound up losing my voice. I would be able to, my voice would shut down completely. And so I actually shared with someone the other day that it dawned on me, and I said to her, I wanted to use my voice to bring education, to bring stories, to bring everything that I could to the table so that people can get motivated and lifted out of their seats to overcome like you. So I share that because you wanted to use your voice and you found the purpose. And I think I did too. I really did.
And now, God, with a sense of humor, I've been coaching hundreds of women for the last 15 years that I've heard stories of, if I can say, be boldly, from rape to dysmorphia to anorexia, bulimia to everything, and has changed truly my whole perspective of how I see women. I was always positive. I always treated women, I think, to a degree of respect because of my parents. But,
Yes.
But I think that for 15 years, when you listen to the stories that I've listened to, gives me a whole perspective on what women have been taught, what women have gone through. So for me, I've dedicated a lot of my life to my seminars and my women's conferences. It's like it's a passion project that I truly believe that. And for a man, is very different.
Yeah, I would imagine that would be because we had another guest on here, and not similar role but different. And it was interesting to me that most of the time I would think women would gravitate to women to want to discuss their issues, whether it be to how do I gain love again, how do I love again, how do I get over this and move on to breakthroughs, as what you're doing now. So do you get men that want to also talk to you?
I coach men, and the men that I coach are very successful because the life coaching is really to reveal the purpose. And then it goes into business coaching or speaking coaching. It's how to tell your story.
Right.
So that's what so one leads to the other.
Right.
Now, I've coached men, but you got to remember that my background was fashion and fitness. So being in fashion and fitness, training all these women, those are the women that came to see me after I went through cancer.
Okay.
And they opened up their whole Pandora's box because they felt like they needed to tell me because they felt I had died. Like there was an article that said died and reborn. They didn't read the reborn. So they were going back to Gold's Gym to look for me.
Right.
And a lot of the women found me. These are people that had trained before. And all of a sudden, here's the story. And they're like, I need to tell you this. You helped me through this. You got me through it. You didn't even know. And that's what got into the life. That's how God led. And one of my best friends had said to me in the hospital, David, your story is going to be the bridge for you to share the stories of others. What am I doing with my TV show? What am I doing with everything that I'm doing? Sharing the stories of others.
Yeah. I mean, if anything, it takes just one to listen to make a difference. Is
That's
that
it.
right?
That's it.
That's
And you're going to
right.
have about 100 people that are going to look at you, you're absolutely crazy, or stop talking about it. And then you're going to have that one person that says, David or Denise, because of you, I didn't take my life.
That's quite heavy. I want to make sure for those of you that want to dial in and have a question answered or comment, please do. The number is 888-565-1470. Dial in. This is your opportunity to ask a question. We are both cancer survivors. I have to say, for those of you that are driving in the car or not having the ability to see us on screen, there was a photo of you at your healthy weight.
Yeah.
And then we have a photo next to you in probably would have been the most weight you might have dropped. So tell me what that variance was so they can get an image in their mind.
So I got diagnosed a second time. Again, they said there's no cure. So I hosted the Fitness Universe show in June. I celebrated my birthday. I went to see Mark Anthony. By the way, I'm a big Mark Anthony fan, so
You're in good company.
yeah. Anytime, any gifts you want to give me as a Mark Anthony concert. I went to see Mark Anthony in concert in July that year, July 2006. In August of 2006, I ended up basically doing a fashion show in Orlando, and the next day I was driving to Boca, Deerfield, where I lived, and I ended up in the emergency room on Tuesday. I actually walked the runway with terminal cancer, with all my organs being covered with cancer. That's when you know like there is a God and that he will give you the desires of your heart. My desire was to do that runway show. And it was a runway show. It was the biggest a bridal show in Orlando. It was August 2006.
But were you feeling okay?
No, I was in pain. But I was only in pain when I wasn't on the runway.
Oh, that's interesting.
And
That's
this is
very
how I
interesting.
know that God was just giving me like I said, if I'm going to die, that's fine. I'm going to die doing what I loved. And there's pictures of me with my long hair doing that runway show, and you could not tell. But then I went backstage to change my tuxedo, and I was in so much pain I could barely walk. But yet I walked the runway like it was my last show. And that's why I say, when you see people lifting a car,
Yeah.
the adrenaline or something, it happens the other side too. It happens when you really will it.
Yes.
But no, I ended up in the hospital in Boca, right down the street from here. And I ended up being told that I had terminal cancer and they couldn't see one organ and they had no idea how I was still functioning. And
That's incredible.
literally from Tuesday to Friday, on Friday, they started a morphine drip. And they said, we're putting you on morphine because we don't think you're going to last a weekend. We've called every doctor in the country, every major hospital, every major oncology expert, and they said they won't touch you because they think you're already dead. So that Friday night, I get a phone call from Dr. Benedetto, Sylvester Cancer Jackson Memorial, and he says, what are you doing with Gandel? Nothing. Morphine. Well, send them to Jackson tonight.
Wow.
And I felt, like I always tell people, the feeling I had was like you're in death row and the judge calls and says you're innocent.
That's
the
an ultimate
best
thing.
feeling. That's the best example that I can give. And I went and I saw Dr. Benedetto like at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. And I said to him, you know, God's going to heal me. You're the instrument. He looked at me like I was absolutely out of my mind. Now I'm his best friend. And now he talks about my faith.
Yeah.
For a doctor to talk about faith is one of the hardest things to do publicly. And he did it on an interview.
Yeah.
And anyway, long story short, 3 weeks later, I woke up at 124 pounds, and that's the picture. 124. I'm 6 feet tall.
Okay, so everyone that doesn't see what he looks like, we're tall, dark, handsome, 6 feet
thank
tall, broad muscles here, and you went from what weight to what?
I was about 180 at the time, and I went down to 124 in 3 weeks. And literally, they said I would not survive again. I would not survive coming back. So they sent me home for 5 days. August 25th, I took that picture. I shaved whatever was left of my hair, which was very hard. And then long story short, I took that picture. I looked up, I smiled, and you can see the picture. I'm smiling and I'm pointing up at God. I always point up my finger. That's because I'm thanking God for this moment. Any pictures you see me, I was pointing up. That's what the definition of that. I said, God, heal me. If you heal me, I'll tell your story.
Well, I'm going to pause right there because one of the things that I've often said, and it's the truth, is that faith heals, but it's the desire to heal yourself. Your body goes into self-evolution of just creating the cells to help cure you.
It can.
Along, of course, there were many different things that you needed to do along the way. You needed medical assistance to get you through all that, but your mental attitude was already there. You saw it happening. So that's just a tremendous thing. So, here we are in the show itself. It's about, closing out your week. And I'm sure there's some listeners out there like, oh, gosh, I heard bad news about this person. I heard bad news about that person, or whatever the news you may have heard, that, tomorrow is another day. Yeah. And you put yourself in the hands of faith that I'm going to get through this. I'm hoping that a story like this helps others get motivated to realize, wow. Let me ask you. So if someone wanted to get a hold of you and talk to you and go through what you do best now, how do they do that?
They can go to lifechangersforlife.com, the number 4, lifechangersforlife.com, or davidgandel360.com. Those are my, or you can go to Instagram, you can go to Facebook. David Octavio Gandel is everywhere. I branded everything the same, so it makes everything easy. And I'll say one more thing after Denise just shared her story, which I know is not easy. It's not easy for me to share my story. People say, oh, you do it so many times. It's never easy.
No.
You have to, like you heard Denise just talk. As soon as you don't see what I see, I'm an empath. I'm feeling exactly what she's feeling. And when you share your story, you take yourself right back to that moment.
You do.
My mom had a double mastectomy after I went through cancer. She did not want to battle cancer. So she did a double mastectomy.
Yeah.
So I get exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Again, we are sharing a story. The main reason is to give you hope. When people talk about faith and everybody says, well, you have faith. I know a lot of people with faith that lost hope. So that's why when I say my message, I say find hope, have faith, and live with purpose. Hope comes before faith. And God taught me that. And if you look at the definition of faith in the Bible, it says things hope for. So you have to hope for something first. So I hope that when Denise talks every week and she brings amazing guests, I've already seen 2 of your interviews, which 2 of my friends, which is amazing. And it's about hope.
Yep.
And especially in Christmas time and New Year's, a lot of people lose hope for other reasons. But I love what you said. It's about taking, like, what you have your show on Friday and the way you just totally formed it. And it's exactly that. Tomorrow is another day. And don't think about, you just start over.
Yep.
Just take that one step of just starting over and see what happens. Because if you flood yourself with everything that happened yesterday, you never see if there's a blessing that next day.
You know, my mom passed from cancer. So one of the things that she always said to me, and I'm going to say this to everyone out there that's listening or watching, is that, you know, tomorrow's another day, but she always says things always look better next morning. Only because the sun is up and you know, that brings light. And I always lived with that thought process, that it's always tomorrow it's going to look different. But she also said, make sure you put your lip gloss on, you do your hair, because the day you got to take that on, and you're going to go down looking good. So that's just the vanity that she had. Bless her heart. She was a beautiful woman.
Sounds like my mother.
Yeah, it's vanity. But one, you know, it's very, very important that everyone that knows me or yourself and the others that I've had on here, you know, they don't think about us having the place of where we've had our challenges. And you can't judge a book by its cover. Never. And when I'm in a room, I often, like, and I'm feeling a little intense, and I'm somewhat of an empath myself, I often wonder who went to what today? Like, what's the worst thing that happened to that person today, or is for the week or for the month? And, you know, I listen to that, but at the same time, I'm thinking I'm going to bring myself up to help them in that energy that they have out there. It's all an outlook. It really, really is. And don't get me wrong, I'm sure you've had these days where you're just like, I'm feeling it hard today.
Yeah, you disconnect. And this is important for all of you listening. I also want to I want to give you guys a little context. I hope you guys understand that this show is, I hope you don't see this as a cancer show.
Thank you.
I hope that you look at this show today as 2 people that have overcome a lot, that are doing something today to help others through whatever they're going through. So when I did my TED Talk, I know Denise said I was a TED speaker. My TED Talk was Surviving Your Cancer. It's not about cancer. So it's about what in your life was my cancer. What in your life distracts you, destroys you, and tries to take your dreams away. Those are the 3 points. So that's what cancer tried to do for my life. So what in your life is doing that? Is it a relationship? Is it money? Is it work? Is it your boss? Is it your environment? Is it your family? Whatever it is that's distracting you, destroying you, or taking your dreams away, that is basically how I felt when I went through cancer. So I hope maybe that's a better way of me sharing this message with you today.
You know, I think also, although cancer is, of course, a diagnosis, it's a disease, there's also another disease that people suffer from, and that's from self-esteem. Self-esteem is just as bad. Because it will eat away at you. And stress can actually induce cancer.
Yes.
And I firmly believe that. I think that's what personally happened to me. I just so much stress internally. But I will let you know that, you know, we're here to help lift you as you're listening. And that's my goal for the show, is to give you motivation, is to just help you understand that you can get through this. You can push through rocks. And if not, the worst case scenario, I always say just pray for courage. No matter what it is, just pray to have the nerve to deal with it.
Just don't pray for patience, because God's going to test you. So I always say, if I pray for patience, all of a sudden, oh my God, all these things start happening that I have to just be patient.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're exactly correct. And, you know, one thing I would tell you is this, you know, when you think about, I always think about my day, I'm living a bonus life. And I hope maybe everybody should live like that. You're living a bonus life because at the end of the day, you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. You have no idea. Look at the world. I never thought I was going to be living through something like 2 years ago.
And that's exactly what my point is that you could be at the height of your world and it can take one phone call, one pain, just to change all of that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that makes us also want to say that, as Mr. 305 said, Pitbull, you know, every day my feet hit above ground, it's a good day.
Yes.
No matter how bad the day before was.
Yes.
I woke up, put my feet above ground, so we're run with that.
Yes.
So we're going to actually go to a commercial break right now, and we're really happy that you're here with us. And for those of you that want to dial in when we come back, it's 1-888-565-1470, and I got it right again. So thanks so much for keeping tuned in. We're going to go to a commercial break.
Along the sun-drenched beaches of Boca Raton lies AMP2 Media. We strive to bring rising stars and their fantastic work into the spotlight. From music to art, we have the tools and the talent you need to help you reach the next level. AMP2 Media is proud to announce our new scoring platform for reality shows, movies, and videos. We have the ability to highlight music according to what the eye sees on the screen. Our excellent mastery of music allows us into the deepest part of your film. Our different sounds allow your film work to come to life. For more information, call our studios at 866-224-5422 or visit our website at amp2.tv. Let AMP Media Productions bring your media to life.
Have you been injured in a car accident, slip and fall, or through the negligence of another? The lawyers at Shane M. Farnsworth, PA, have over 40 years of experience representing injured individuals and their families. Call us today at 561-272-8337 for a free case evaluation and the answers to your legal questions. Were you injured in an accident that wasn't your fault? Don't let the insurance companies take advantage of you. Contact us now to learn about your options and protect your rights.
Hi, everyone, and we're back. Once again, I have with me David Octavio Gandel, who's actually sharing his story as a two-time cancer survivor, an existing TEDx speaker, and also a woman's breakthrough coach. One thing I didn't mention before, he actually has his own nonprofit that is called Life Changes for Life, the number 4 life. So we were just, talking about a shared experience. I myself was a cancer survivor, so you learned a little bit more about me, and talking through how it is that you can cope and what's happening and the value of life. We're bringing that all together. A little bit of his journey that we've been on, and once again, recapping where you could be at the top of your game, and it just takes 1 second to change that. And but you can overcome and push through with an outlook that when you think it's all going to be that bad, one next day in the morning, it can be a little better. It really can be. So I want to talk a little bit about some me time. Sure. I want to do that on the show because I promised people I was going to talk about me. Not that I'm that important to know much about, but I have a lot of inquiries. So I'm actually going to be starting a segment here now that you're talking about, women's breakthrough. So I'm going to be sharing like a 45 to a minute worth of dating Denise because I've just got stories that are just unbelievable. And I've been told, you've got to share these stories live on there. And I'm like saying,
these are your stories.
These are my stories.
Oh, okay. These are
my stories. stories. I was married for 30 years, and
That's a whole lifetime.
It's a lifetime. Yeah, I actually used to say to my ex-husband, we're very good friends, and I used to say, you're like a mortgage at the 30-year maturity, you're done. I was going to turn him in, but it was a joke, but literally it actually happened that way. I got divorced on the day I got married. 30 years to the day, but we're really good friends. So I have to share this one story that is just hysterical. And I really need to know where men's heads are at, but I'm doing this all in levity. No judgment. This is just all fun. No names mentioned, of course. But, it's really crazy. After the show, by the way, I tend to go to a restaurant. And I'm actually working with different restaurants right now that after we complete the show, we'll work and talk about them on the show. And then my guests will get to go with me to the restaurant.
Oh, come on. That's
and
awesome.
be taken care of. And all in the light of course, recognizing who we are and recognizing the show and recognizing the restaurant. So I actually went to this one restaurant. I won't say who it is just yet because we're working on seeing whether or not they're going to be a sponsor. And I'm sitting there.
She's
after
very
the show,
intelligent, too. She's very smart.
Little that the person that I met next to me didn't realize that I was. And I was sitting there talking, and the gentleman, bless his heart, he was just like, so what do you do? And I said, what I do, radio, TV personality. He goes, oh, I didn't think you did anything. I'm like, what?
So what did you do then? What did he think you did?
I said, no, I do something, I somehow sustain my living. And I told him that, and he goes, oh, that's really exciting. Well, he forgot in 30 seconds. So then he goes back and says, so do you know where this little town is in New York called Manhattan? I was like, what? Do I look that dumb? Seriously? Come on. And I'm like, you're joking, right? And he goes, no, some people don't know. And I said, well, clearly I am very educated, and I'll let you know I do know where Manhattan is. And this is the type of conversation I'm having at a bar. And I'm like, okay, so I forgave the moment. I went on, and he's actually saying to me, hey, listen, do you want to go on a date with me tomorrow night to a party? And I knew the people's homes, and I said, okay, I'll meet you there. Well, lo and behold, the next day, he texted me and said the party was canceled. I said, oh, okay. All right, well, will you want to meet me tomorrow, meaning Sunday? And I'm saying, okay, all right. But in my back of my mind, like, why wouldn't he ask me to go on a date in lieu of the party, right? Well, I call my girlfriend. And I know everyone in town. For those of you that are listening, don't you ever think Denise doesn't know how she's going to find out information, because she always does. Call my girlfriend. Are you ready for this? I said, hey, listen, I heard that the party was canceled. What about this guy? She goes, what party? The party's not canceled.
Wow.
The party was not canceled. Yeah. Uh-huh.
So there was a line.
It was something.
There was a line.
I'm not going to go any further than that, but this is what's... This is
You
what?
wanted to go on a date. That's it.
No, I didn't go. Of course
hope
not.
not.
Are you kidding me? I'm like, I said to him, have you seen me? Number one. Number two, we're too old for this game. The gentleman was 67. Honestly, he didn't look 67. He looked fantastic for his age. But at the end of the day, okay, not happening. So how do you break through that? I mean, you take through that conversation. Have you had conversations like that with women? Let's bring some levity to the show in this, because I'm going to see you exercise your women breakthrough.
My producers, one of my producers is here, Gary Stephen Arias. Hey, Gary, how are you?
Hi, Gary.
So he knows a lot, because he actually hosts my events, my women's seminars. So I do talk a lot, right, Gary, about experiences. Like I said, my life truly changed listening to women tell me what they have gone through in life. So it really, really changed. But when it comes to, I guess, dating, for me, I always tell people, I think the best dates are your best friends. I just still believe that, because at the end of the day, most
Even though
people,
they might have been moved into the friend zone?
Well, what I'm saying is, if you want to date somebody, it has to be someone that you actually get along with outside of just the attraction. Because again, we live in South Florida. So if you're listening to us in New York and anything else, I would love for you, Tracy, to come. I'll give you a ticket for listening to us. So I'll let you know when my next seminar is, and you just can come to it. Absolutely, Tracy. It'll be my pleasure.
That's one of my girls.
Oh, well, Tracy, you're invited to my next seminar,
Thanks,
okay?
Tracy, for tuning in. I
Yes,
appreciate it.
Thank you for the amazing words, Tracy Taylor. So one of the things I always say is that in Miami, right? We live in Miami or Boca Raton, whatever, in South Florida. There's a lot of connections, right? People network, connect.
Everyone knows somebody.
And everyone knows somebody. And then the first thing is like, oh, I like you. Great, let's go out. Oh, I like what you do. So in my case, Gary was always, he laughs at me because when women say to me, girls that wanted to date or wanted to go out, they say, I love you, David. No, they don't love me. They love what I do.
Wow.
They love what I do. They love what I stand for, which is great because, again, what I'm doing and what I stand for is a God-given gift.
Yep.
So I say, that's the best thing about me. But you don't love me because you don't know me.
Well, I mean, you can say I love you as a friend. Like they can say it in
Correct.
passing.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
hey,
but-
I love you, because of who you are. You're
But
my
we're
best
talking about when
friend.
someone tells you they like you, right? And they tell you, oh, this is why I want to go, So, for me, like I always say, I think when you start a friendship first and you start really doing things, like for me, I love theater, I love movies, I love sports, and if I'm going to spend a lot of time doing these things, if I like speaking and traveling, it has to be someone that first wants to travel with me, wants to do other things with me. But at the other time is, and I want to say this to all the women listening right now, you still have your own purpose. So whatever I do, you're not going to do what I want you to do. I want you to do what you are meant to do on this earth. I always say this, in a relationship, there's 3 purposes, one for each person and one for the couple. Okay? Because as a
That's
Christian,
well
you
said.
believe that you become one. But that doesn't mean that what I'm doing, you're going to follow me and then you forget about you.
Yeah.
What turns me on, if you want to know, is someone that's like me, like is living their purpose, has a story, and is ready to tell it, and is doing something about it. That's actually a turn on for me. Now, yeah, I'm a trainer, so of course I could train you. I'm good. I don't need to know anything else. But yeah, I like somebody that works out, but I want someone who works out because of their health, because they enjoy it, and because I know the benefits of it.
Well, in a relationship, you do need to have someone that you have similarities.
Yeah.
If you live a clean life, meaning clean as in, for example, health habits, how you eat clean or work out and things of that nature, you got to have that common ground. And the other thing, too, back to what you said, there are 3 people in the relationship. There really is. And I actually got in trouble for writing an article once, and I posted it on LinkedIn. And the article was, and don't get nervous, people out there.
I want to know.
The
I'm
article
dying to
was
know.
about the life cycle of a Milf.
Okay.
Okay, so I know it has a bad connotation, but it's a good thing. So I'm going to shift your energy to listen to this.
Sure.
Okay. What happens is, when we get married, and each person sees that person that they are when they enter the relationship, okay? You are who you are. You have your own identities for the most part. And then you get married, and then for that matter, the mother, the wife, okay, let me go backwards. And your wife now becomes sister, mother, daughter, aunt, cousin. She's now possibly also in a career, okay, managing a house, okay, keeping everything together, playing matriarch, making hubby happy and the whole thing. And not to mention cleaning and everything else, maybe even working out for that matter. But once they have children, now she becomes the medic. Now she becomes the therapist. Now she becomes everything on top of that what she was.
That's
Right?
interesting. I
It
love how
is.
you put that in context.
So hold on, we're moving on here now. So they have to deal with taking care of mommy and papi because why they're aging probably, and now you have to add that to the mix. So everyone is doing everything for everyone else, and the 2 people that were in the relationship, especially the wife, in my opinion, loses a little bit of herself as each year progresses, as that layer and layer and layers on. Hold on. Now, kids are 18. You're an empty nester. You stand there looking at each other like, who are you? And you're like, no, who are you? And now suddenly she's saying, I want to go back to who I was. But men are less likely to change. Women will morph. We kind of, we slither in and out because we have to. And so she's like, I want to go back and work out again. Oh, we can curse in the house. The kids are out now. A number of other things that you can now do. Maybe she goes, I want to go hang with the girlfriends because I just want to catch up with them. I want to renew my life again. I want to visit all that. And now the family's like, ¿Qué está pasando ahí? They're saying Spanglish. They're asking, what's happening over there? Why is she going out? And all she wants to do is just regroup.
So can I say
Jump in.
Let me jump in. So, men, you're not gonna like me for this, but it's the truth.
I knew I was right.
She said, well, I do women empowerment for a reason, right? But I'll say this. She said that men don't change. And that's not true. I change 100%, but I took cancer.
No,
for me
I
to
think they change.
But I'll tell you why. I'm going to give you something that you're going to take to the bank.
Okay.
When you break up with a man because he's lazy, he's out of weight, he's overweight, he's not going to the gym, doing whatever he's doing now, and you break up with him, immediately
Oh, yep.
he changes. Yes or no?
Yes.
Because
completely. Now he's
in a
in
month,
the, yeah.
you're gonna see him at the bar in shape, and it's like, how come you didn't do that for me?
Oh, the
See?
inevitable
So
for
we
me.
do change. It's just the fact that there was no communication between the two of you for many years, and then now it's like proving the other one wrong. So then you're doing your thing because you got yourself in shape. You got yourself in, whatever. Now you want to go out, and then he now goes out, and then all of a sudden changes. It's the same thing with somebody that's a guy that's lazy, doesn't want to work or whatever. You break up with him, and 3 years later, he's in the top of, I don't know, he got Bitcoin, and now he's rich. I don't know you know what I'm saying?
What's his name?
And now, wait, that was your ex. No, but I'm saying, but at the same token, it's like, he's still the same person.
Yes. Yes.
And that's the problem. And then women, what happened is, oh, I want to go back. Oh, he looks attractive again. There was a problem to begin with.
The physical is one thing, yes.
Yeah,
but the
there's a problem
psyche is
to begin
another.
with.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
because he's successful now, he wasn't. No, it doesn't matter. You made him successful. That's great. Actually, I'll say all my exes are doing amazing. And you know what? That's good. Because that means that now they got somebody, at least they know their value and they know what they deserve because of my relationship.
I actually say to my ex-husband, okay, we're all friends. I say to him, you're welcome.
There you go.
And he goes, for what? I'm like, you're welcome.
Yes.
My hard work is paid off.
Exactly. It is. I mean, and the thing is that is in your case, it might be a tire. It might be something you're holding on to. It might be a weight on your life. But in his life, it might be better. So, yeah. But again, if you don't, Steve Harvey said the same thing. If you want a new car, you got to put the old car out of the garage.
Yep.
So anything new you want in life, you need to get rid of the old thinking. You got to get all the distractions.
You got to adjust.
Yeah, the limitations.
But I got a question.
Sure.
Oh, we got a question.
We got
Freddie,
a question
shoot.
in the house.
You guys are talking about the physical. What about the mental change? So when she leaves you, something snaps for both?
Well, no, when he leaves, he's going to find himself a 30-year-old or 20-year-old and then kind of like relive his
Well, it's not
youth.
gonna. Yeah, it's not
Am
gonna
I
work
wrong
though.
or right? I don't know.
It's not gonna work. But everybody's different. I mean, not everybody can. And here's the other part. We say everybody's the same. We're not. Like, there's people that probably would go home and get really depressed, and who knows what happens. So, unfortunately, hopefully they get help, and because depression is real, and I'll tell that to everybody. It didn't take COVID for me to know that depression is real in everybody's life. Yes. We all get depressed at some point in your life. It's just to what degree does it control your life?
Yeah.
So, if you allow it to control you, it's not a good thing. So, try to get help if you need it, of course, for anybody listening. But yeah, I mean, we talk in a fun way, right? So we're talking about the physical because that's really the first thing that people look at. Why are we watching television? Why are we watching all these shows, The Bachelor, whatever? We don't know anything about the person.
Yeah.
We just, hey, I like him. He looks good. He thinks he works out, or
Yep.
I don't know. So it starts with the physical. But that's why I said for me is if you're around people, like-minded people, and people that do the things you do, then you're already in your environment of people you like. You're already
Or
in your
elevate
environment.
your circle.
Sure.
You know, if you're gonna,
I think the idea of a
if
new
you're
beginning, and most men are adventurous. Yeah, absolutely.
So
Yeah,
we have here
it
a
is an adventure.
commentary. Martelli, good to hear from you. I think it's the idea of a new beginning, and most men are adventurous.
They are. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
They are. They are adventurous. And it depends also in their qualities. Because you got people that love hunting. You got people that love fishing. You got people that other things. There's other people that don't like fishing. Right? Thank God for that, because if not, Florida is already overpopulated. So it would be worse. But no, I think at the end of the day, everybody's different in their own unique way. And I think it starts from childhood. And like Denise talked about earlier, when I talk to women, I go back to 0 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 15. I need to figure out what was the beginning, what was the root of your defining who you are. And then you define everybody around you to see if they need to be in your life.
Dating Denise is one thing, but I do go out, and I love this line. Why don't you have a boyfriend? I don't want one, especially the one I'm looking at right now. That's pretty mean. I know it's to say, but it's very crass of you to come over and be very rude to ask such a question, right? But, you overlook it, whatever. And I realized when I said that is because at that moment, you have to make a choice. Could I be with a lot of different men? And that goes for many women. The answer is yes, but I choose not to. Correct. Because I want to be selective in who I spend my time with. But you just never know. If you don't try, you're not going to know. You got to put yourself out there, too, at the same time. But to end that story about the Milf, she's at the bar talking to her girlfriends and their close friends, workers, and whatnot, and she's doing nothing wrong. all she's doing is finding herself again.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that she can go home and be who she used to be. You know, and then other men interpret that you're out there as you're out. They think that you're out. And, you know, it's hard for a man to realize that women can just be out to have fun and talk.
And it goes both ways.
Yes.
Because then women look at men that are doing certain things and it can affect the relationship. And that's where I've been, where I coach women, I train women, I'm around women all day long, I host fitness shows, fashion shows. But if I'm in a relationship, I try to do my best to make sure that person is included in everything I do. But yet, because of their past, there's no trust. Mm-hmm. And then when they finally realize years later, David's still single. David hasn't, you know, it was my fault. And I've gotten that part with two of my last exes. So, yes, they can sabotage your relationship due to their past.
You know, one thing I've always said, and I've actually said this very often, is, you know, if you're in a relationship, you have to support each other and know and get involved in whatever their endeavors are. Be supportive within means, you know what I'm saying? But you have to be their partner. And if it's their event, you support them. If it's his event, you support him. Or vice versa, his and hers and hers. It doesn't matter. The point is that you have to be supportive and not be a recluse and leave yourself on the couch while your wife is going to be going out and doing different events, you know. So anyway, great topic, in my opinion.
Dating Denise, that's the topic that we're talking
Denise,
about.
I know.
People are like, oh, you went from cancer to dating Denise. Okay.
Yeah, well, you know what we talked about what you did.
Yes,
you know,
absolutely.
all of this is an emotional thing, and we can tie this in right now because what you went through and what I went through, the combination of my experience with cancer and relationship, marriage, children, and yourself, and everything that you just said, I think it's what makes us form ourselves to who we are today. Would I ask to change anything else? No, I can't, because I wouldn't be who I am today.
So we're both singles, what we're trying to tell you. Again,
we're both single. Yes. But the point is that our passion, we've made our messes, our experiences in life, our message.
Absolutely.
And it wouldn't have been mean as much had we not gone through what we went through. So with that said, next week, tune in. I got a great rep as well. Another client that's coming in, another guest. I just want you to know it's Dr. Jeff, and he is a therapist for the celebrities. Yes, so everyone, you're going to have to tune in for this one. It's going to be a great, great show. Also, if you're looking to sponsor me, to have more shows and people like this, please reach out to me. You can get me on Facebook. You can find me on my Instagram. It's Denise Casal or Denise Casal _. You can email me at Denise at well, let me repeat that because I just changed this email too. So it's Denise at powerupradiotv.show. Again, Denise at powerupradiotv.show. I want to hear from you. Thank you so much for everyone tuning in. Make it a great, great weekend. Thank you so much for being here today, awesome. David. And I look forward to having you on again. This was a great talk. I hope you all enjoyed it.
Yes.
All right. Be well, everyone. God bless.
You have been listening live to the one and only timeless Denise as she helps you bring in your weekend with a smile. If you wish to contact Denise and be on the show, call us at 866-224-5422 or email Denise at poweredupradiotv.show and tell us how your business shapes up the weekend. Again, call us at 866-224-5422 and make your mess our message. Now that you are powered up, go get your weekend on.